if this were Drakthar and Pun, I think this would be Exodia coming through from the side of Cerberus. But because it's Boss and Leash, they don't have it. But still, they get Artemis on Sivir, they get Yato on Ari. I feel like they're on a ton of comfort to work with. If Saigon can crack this, I feel like Saigon officially has proven to me that they're capable of beating just about anybody in the league. Because this is about as good a composition, I think, as Cerberus could ever possibly ask for. Which is why I'm going to vote in favor of Cerberus in this game. I think challenging Zeri is going to be a problem, though. I will note that.
Right. Team, dog or cow?
I think it's gonna be cow. I think there's too much chaos that Cerberus has to be able to put in team fights. Just think that the Ari, that champions like Wukong and even Nar can't really team fight into champions like Seraphine and Zeri. So I think I give it to the Buffaloes.
So the cows will head to the grazing fields of Summer Rift, and we have our favorite shepherds, Carrix and Yue.
Well, we will be sure to lead some guided lambs home today, Clockwork, as Yue. It's been a while since our classic duo has been trotted out. You keep scheduling me on with other people.
What can I say? We somehow have to fill the spots, so. But I made sure we at least got to cast one series together, so I'm very excited for this one.
Too.
And look at these compositions. I mean, to be fair, we wanted to focus a little bit on ADC matchups, and we have seen Sivir Zeri for, I don't know, 10, 15 times already this week, so maybe not the most hype matchup.
So,
now.
Interestingly, I think this is the first Sivir I've cast.
Oh, wow. Well, then you're in for a treat, hopefully. It's also one of the very first Sivir Yumis, maybe even the first Sivir Yumi. It was teased so many times, but no one actually picked it in the end, so I'm very happy to see this Sivir Yumi. We can already see the cull start, so Artemis is clearly looking at late game angle. And to be fair, we've seen both of these AD carries carry some games in the late game, so I'm up for big late game team fights with two of the slowest teams in the league. It's insane for me to say that about SGB of all teams, but they are very slow in game time and in combined kills per minute, so we might be here for a while.
We might. They have been going these Seraphine compositions where they just pick beef in front of the Seraphine. They don't get many kills, but they really just don't die. That's not quite what this composition is, but we'll have to see how things go. I want to actually just pivot quickly to the top lane, because I know we want to focus on the ADCs, but I want to talk about this early on. They've brought in the Korean duo of Poss and Leash. I know that people are very mixed in the community about where they should go, what the benefits of the two combinations are. But Husband has thrown down the gauntlet and picked Irelia into Gnar. How do you think this interfaces with the rest of what the team wants to be doing?
So, first of all, narratively, I want to say Hasmir definitely has a lot to make up for. In his first week, he was inting his brains out against Poss and Leash. So there's a little bit of a shot at redemption, and he's certainly taking it to Poss here. Poss is the better laner between the two top laners, maybe not the better team fighter, but I think into Hasmir it's actually pretty smart to pick the better laner, because Hasmid has all these counter picks ready, right? He's famous for counter picking with Vayne, so no surprise to see his counter pick here. In terms of composition, Irelia can be a decent team fighter, can be pretty bad in teamfights. I think combined with the likes of Froggy Seraphine, I actually don't hate it too much, and Hasmid especially is a very good Irelia when it comes to flanking, so I could see the huge potential for Hasmid flank into Froggy ultimate through the whole team, just wiping the floor with the whole Cerberus team, so I'm quite excited for that prospect later on. And Hasmid generally on these carry champions is always a pretty explosive player. Sometimes he just ins, sometimes he goes 1v4, so it might be one of those games.
It very well might be. One thing to note is that Poss was able to position the wave in a really, really good position, made himself completely undiveable, ungankable. BJ pathed bottom to top and was unable to get anything done, didn't even show anywhere. So, look, Viego doesn't mind just resetting after his first clear, but I do feel like Poss was able to navigate SGB's early game plan very well.
And it is the expected slow early game. I think both junglers, both teams in general are fine with this. It's pretty comforting for SGB to see Froggy not die early in lane, because he's had some struggles with dying early on with the Seraphine. He had one Seraphine game where he was struggling in laning phase, and then one where he was amazing, ended the game 6-1 or something, only dying to the fountain, if I remember correctly. I cast that on Thursday, and it was a really good game. But here we have the first fight. Both junglers are here.
Yeah, Leash is going to be able to join the party. SGB immediately want to pull back. They don't want to dance with this Wukong early. Shogun and Taki taking a few boomerangs from those ricochets, but they do disengage well.
And this is the SGB of Summer Split, not going for these fights. They see the jungler and immediately disengage, smartly so, because their bot lane was under a huge amount of pressure. HP bars low, mana bars kind of depleted as well, so a very smart decision, but very different from what we've seen at MSI, at Spring Split, actually the last 2 years. This team has really changed their identity quite a bit. Which
to be fair, at MSI, Shogun was only playing against trash like Gumayushi, so it's all good. I'm joking, LCK fans. Don't send a truck to my house. As a little bit of a play around the mid lane, just a bit of poke back and forth. No worries as we continue on into this one.
Yeah, we might actually have to wait for a Herald for the first kill in the VCS game. I'm not sure if I'm prepared for that, because everything is going very slowly. Let's look at this Herald potential and actually try to figure out who's gonna be stronger there. I think generally you say if Leona gets to level 6, there's quite a bit to work with for SGB's composition. Seraphine base damages and AoE potential for CC and heal and so on, I would say is stronger than Ahri early on, especially if you can get that first kill, BeanJ's ultimate, and Shogun also using his first ultimate. So as long as SGB gets their champions to level 6, I would favor their composition over at the first Herald fight. Though we also have to deal with Wukong and Na, who are very strong team fighters level 6 as well. So it could be quite explosive, and I'm not entirely sure if both teams are going to try and fight for the Herald. We might just see one team go over there and the other one trying to go for the Shelly bargain. But I'm hoping for an early team fight over there, because so far nothing really has happened.
Yeah, God, we're so spoiled in the VCS. We sit here for like 7 minutes with no kills, and we're like, come on, guys, get to it. And then you've got, like, you know, the LCK casters, like, it's been 45 minutes without first blood. We're doing okay. We are such spoiled brats when it comes to action to cast.
Very true.
But regardless, I am surprised at the restraint of these teams, all jokes aside. It is really surprising. It's also a good sign, honestly. I've been talking about how I think the VCS was really hurt by the durability patch because those early skirmishes didn't work anymore because you didn't actually get kills. So seeing our teams begin to adjust, and as much as it's not necessarily the type of League of Legends I like to watch, this is probably the correct way to play. And as we head towards Worlds, it's what I want to see our teams doing.
I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that, because we have seen that a lot of aggression still from the LPL, and even LEC is trying to go for earlier place again, so not entirely sure. I think some VCS teams actually play this way too.
I'm talking about pre-8 minutes.
We have our first dive.
Boss is getting dove. There's a Vanguard's Edge landing and the flawless duet. Husmed absolutely smurfing this play as they do pick themselves up a first blood.
And look at the time, it's 8 minutes in, that's a free Rift Herald. That's actually a huge advantage for SGB, as long as they don't die in bot side. They are struggling in the bot lane laning phase, and they are bleeding a little bit of money over to the Sivir, who also started very ambitiously with a Cull. So she's generating some extra money, and Yumi is also getting to mine away at her support items. So it's quite a good situation over for Cerberus' bot lane, but not quite enough to offset the advantage generated by SGB's top side. And with Husmed getting an early kill, and probably the Herald channeled into him top lane as well, he might be the one we are going to look at for carrying the mid game in this game.
If they don't immediately drop the Herald, they are going to back it off to Husband TPing back to lane. We did see Artemis picking up 2 plates, so in terms of raw Herald, it's even. Of course, once the Herald is dropped, assuming it gets 2 plates, it is going to be even, but we do go to a pause, unfortunately. Hopefully this one does get resolved fairly quickly. But I think with the kill, also, again, you know I love going to my intangibles. I think Husmed will feel really good after that dive, because he played that to perfection. Oh god, the names.
What is happening? Oh yes.
We've got Paul Carrick, Coach Tim, and Yulwayix.
That makes absolutely no sense, by the way, for people who have ever worked with OBS. the names that are not our names, Carrix and Uwei, aren't even on this scene. It makes no sense for them to show up. They're not on the scene. It just makes no sense whatsoever.
We don't have spoons for a day and we fall apart. Regardless, so far in this early game, what's your read of that trade of that Shelly bargain?
Well, I feel like both teams can be decently happy with this one. I think SGB is a little bit disappointed in their bot lane. I actually want to go back to one of the points Tim made in the pick and bans, talking about Sivir against Leona, and actually arguing that Leona is a pretty bad pick into Sivir. And so far, we really haven't seen anything from Taki to prove him wrong. So the Leona not doing anything, not getting out of lane to roam, which is one of the big advantages into the Yuumi matchup, right? You're not picking Leona to outscale Yuumi. That's not going to happen. You want to make early impact on the map. You want to group over the jungler, try to go for maybe even a dive. Of course, if you make the dive happen on the Yuumi lane, you get a 2-for-1 special. So that's always something you look at. But so far, Leona completely neutralized, and even worse than that, actually dominated in lane. So that pick looks like a little bit of a trap. So Cerberus getting back to the pick and ban phase, they actually banned away 2 supports and forced Taki onto this Leona, which seems to be paying dividends. So we have a very interesting map split here, where Saigon Buffalo is dominating the top side, trying to set up their counter-pick hyper-carry player, Hasmed. Once again, we have seen this work multiple times. We have also seen this fail a few times in the past, because Hasmed himself can be a little bit of a streaky player, can die in side lanes quite often. So this is set up to be a super interesting game where one team has an advantage on the top side in a side lane carry, and the other team probably is building a teamfight advantage through a hyper carry Sivir. So this might really become one of the classics. And you have to consider, Cerberus is 2-0 over Saigon Buffalo. It's a very important match, especially for the Buffaloes. If they lose today, they drop to the same score as Wales, and quite far away from Cerberus and Gum, their immediate competitors. Actually 2 games out of playoffs, or top 4 position, I should say. So Saigon Buffalo really needs this win today.
Yeah, and I do think playing through Hasmed makes a lot of sense here. He's on this Irelia. He should dominate lane. He already has been. They make that dive happen. This is basically one of those games. We are back in game, and I'll finish my point up. This is basically one of those compositions where Hasmed does all of the work. You know, he dribbles the ball all the way up the field, knocks out the opposing goalkeeper, and then just gently rolls the ball in front of the Zeri and goes, okay, you kick the goal now. Because he'll carry the entire game, and then Zeri will eventually come online because she hasn't had to do anything all game, and she'll do the last little bit of carrying. So I actually think that makes a lot of sense for SGB. I like the way they're setting this up.
Yeah, I don't disagree, and you always have to consider the Seraphine as well, farming up nicely. Very big late game, not hyper carry threat in terms of damage, but still, it's kind of hard to talk about supportive champions as hyper carries, but she is in a certain kind of way, because there comes a point in the game when she has 300, 400 HP, and the enemy team doesn't have the huge burst potential, where you just can't win teamfights against the shield and the shields and heals from Seraphine and all the control and disengage she provides at all. So you always have to consider the Seraphine as well. If Cerberus is able to jump on top of her with an RE, Na combination, maybe even Wukong in there, though Wukong into Seraphine is pretty hard to play, and especially jungle Wukong is not able to one-shot her. But still, if you can isolate the Seraphine, maybe. Should be fine. He's full stacked. It's really risky to gank him here. Beanjay is also in the vicinity. This could go horribly wrong if Leash commits.
I don't think they'll do it. I think the Nabar is going to save them. They don't want to do this while Post is so far away from Mego.
Yado's here. Yado, where are you going?
Yado's been spotted, but Taki misses everything. That's a disaster. Now Froggy being engaged on. Hasmed has died in the top lane. Oh no, it's all falling apart. Shogun arrives to the play, but no CC is going to land. Good flash there by Yado. SGB kind of scrambling. They pop the blast cone, but will not find themselves a leash.
Definitely looked like network issues on my screen, because what was Saigon Buffalo doing? All of them missing everything. Yeah, and Cerberus actually walks away with a favorable reset against tempo and a free kill in top lane. I'm not even entirely sure what Hasmed did. I think he tried to dive against the counter gank of Leash. Well, Saigon Buffalo is going to channel some gold into Shogun, so that's still decently
They adapted
successful.
really well.
Yeah, I mean, they were already there, right? They still had the tempo and reset advantage, but Cerberus could have really gotten into big trouble here if they lost the play. If Yado gets caught out there by Taki, they probably lose 2 or 3k gold, but now it's only 1k gold deficit, and Dragon is spawning in 1 minute, where Cerberus should have the advantage in terms of setup.
Hazmed pushes a wave into the bottom lane. It is a 700 gold lead post that Herald being dropped as we crest 12 minutes. Very, very close stuff from two very close teams on the standings. Let's have a look at what happened to Hazmed. It must have just been tried to kill Post and didn't go well.
Yeah, I think he had the safety of his team being close, and then he overcommitted under the tower. Yep, there we are. Never mind, he didn't even get to the tower. Never mind, he did get to the tower. Okay, to correct myself twice there. Would have actually liked to see the Ari dodge on Taki's abilities again, because I think Taki could have potentially tried to... Oh,
never mind. Speaking of Ari dodge, there's no dodge there. Yado desperately trying to get away. BJ will finish them off. There's that Zeri ult coming out as well. Final chapter from Huber will stop SGB pushing this any further, but still 1 kill picked up for free.
Cerberus seems a little disconnected here on the play. It feels like Artemis really does not want to fight yet, and the rest of the team is kind of scrambling to get into the fights, but then it doesn't really make sense because the hyper carry is not there to carry them. Saigon Buffalo now with control over the Dragon Pit. This is a great passage of play for them. If they get the Dragon, it's not only great individual Dragon, it also stops the Dragon snowball potential, gives them so much more time. But Pause has something to say about it.
Mega throws in a rock, finds them, whips them, but doesn't hit them into a wall. Can Froggy navigate his way out of this? It's going to be important. No, he can't, but trades immediately for Leash. Shogun going low, Taki going down. Shogun does manage to dodge that rock, but here comes Hazmed trying to carry the back end of this fight. Fully stacked on Irelia, but has to get out of there. He's so low, he goes down. On the other side, we have BJ taking on Yado. You know he's looking for those resets, but he's not going to find them. Yuumi healing just too strong, and 4 members of SGB fall in front of the Dragon, rather.
On Cerberus, that was so dicey, but they actually decide to go for an imposter with an amazing play there. This is going to lead to them getting, well, actually not that much in terms of really objectives secured for them. They lost the Dragon, so didn't really get what they came for. There's no Baron for them to profit of, and yeah, they collected some kills, but in the end, not super consequential, so Saigon Buffalo didn't lose the game over this fight. And we have some kills going over to either top lanes. I look at Froggy's ultimate, really nice to stop this engage and make it a little bit better for Saigon Buffalo. In the end, it's just too much AoE damage from Post though, and really nice boulder toss there as well to completely force Shogun out of the fight. Now Shogun is really trying to get there. Shogun really wants to participate, but he knows he just can't step up to the Gnar. So even though it looks like it's a 2v2 on the map right now, you have to consider there's still Yuumi on top of them, and Shogun can't really participate, doesn't have the damage, doesn't have the range. Another kill going over to Cerberus.
Taki getting caught warding, it seems. That is going to be the gold brought pretty much back to level. It's going to be second Herald completely free for Cerberus, and SGB looks like they've just kind of fallen apart.
Yeah, Cerberus just smartly playing around some of these vision edges. Very, very much what people would maybe stereotypically say is the Korean playstyle, playing around vision, but I mean, in this game it's certainly true. Very nice coverage into the topside jungle and just catching Saigon Buffalo members on rotation. Free kill over to Leash, which also opens up the next objective. Admittedly, second Herald, of course, not the biggest of deals. Can maybe break open the mid tower into Dragon in a few minutes, but might also just be used in topside or bot side to buy a little bit of time and spread Saigon Buffalo members across the map.
Let's have a look at what happened here. Yep, just caught on a ward.
The ward was actually placed in the play, so they must have seen him transition over there. But just a good catch, not much to say about, honestly. It's just good awareness from Cerberus, nicely set up, and a free kill, you always take those.
Yeah, you 100% do. As Froggy shoving down in this mid lane. Pretty good farm at the moment, 157. Just the tiniest bit behind Yado, but he's just been kind of chilling on the Seraphine. Crown of the Shattered Queen Not sure how I feel about that one, but we might have to come back to it as there is a bit of a play brewing.
It gives him survivability, which is in essence what this Seraphine wants to do. She wants to be able to counter-engage and not die instantly, so it makes sense. Will take away quite a bit of damage, but to be honest, you have so many damage champions or damaging hyper carries even in this composition. Seraphine is really not there to provide a lot of damage. It's nice to have it, but it's more important for her to stay alive the initial few seconds of the fight and then counter-engage with her ultimate, with her E, and so on. So I actually think it makes a lot of sense. That gives her a lot of safety in side lane matchups as well. Into Ahri, Ahri probably can never look to solo kill the Froggy now. So as long as Froggy stays grouped or safe enough to not get jumped on by 2 or 3 people, this I believe is the correct itemization to just scale into the mid and late game and provide what Seraphine is gonna be useful for, which is not the damage, but the utility.
Fair point. You've justified it to me. Looking over, Husmed is going the Chovy build, going that Sunfire second. Makes a lot of sense here. He wants to be existing in the middle of the enemy team, putting flames across as many as he can. Nothing else particularly of note in the items as they do trickle on in.
Well, I'd say as we have a very much a lull state right now, it is quite interesting to look at the ADC matchup right now, because Sivir completed 2 items already, or has completed 2 items already, while the Shogun is still working on the second. This is mostly due to Sivir starting with a cull and just going super greedily for early money investment to jump off to lead in terms of itemization. Usually we actually see Xerxes not go for IE third item, while Sivir's most of the time do. So let's see if the item divergence comes in this game as well. You probably want to go Armor Pen in this game specifically for Artemis because there are so many tanks. Oh, what are we looking for? Froggy? Fishing?
Yeah, he's just looking for it. He does have that ult. They know where Leash is. He's actually gone in onto BJ. Of course, has the W to get away. A little bit of a zap from Shogun.
You can wait out the Mega here for Saigon Buffalo to get in a really good position. And Cerberus is on a timer now with the Mega running out. So Saigon Buffalo with the immediate advantage over the Dragon. Cerberus, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They might have to disengage.
Well, the Dragon has been pulled. They know they're tagging Poss, though. They're keeping a very close eye on him. That Mega running out. I mean, Leash can definitely go in, try and look for a steal. The engage is
so
there.
risky.
Oh my word, look at this turnaround from SGB. The Wombo has worked. That's a good kill there from Poss onto the Dragon, but it just doesn't matter when the rest of them just melt away. Cerberus sent directly back to Hades.
Someone call Marby! Well, she preaches about this champion every single time. Cerberus, please, just listen to us. Why would you try to fight with Minina? That was the most basic mistake a NAR team can ever make, and I'm not sure, maybe that's some of the communication. We always have to be a little bit careful talking about Cerberus, because who knows how good their communication is, who knows if the language barrier actually plays a role. Maybe some of the Vietnamese players really wanted to push for the fight and wasn't able to communicate correctly that he was too far away to actually impact the fight, but that was just foolish, honestly. Just, there was no chance of them ever winning the fight, and yes, they got the Dragon. But it's really not worth to go for a second Dragon, especially before the Dragon buffs come in. Maybe there would be someone who could justify this kind of play on the next patch, where individual Dragons are stronger, but I think in the end, winning a team fight, getting shutdowns, and a tower is always going to be worth more.
Oh, Froggy has been caught out, but he's got the dancing shoes on, dodging just about everything he can. It's not enough, though, and he actually burns his flash in the end.
Poss? What? Huh?
What? Poss behind the tower gets away, though.
Happy bee indeed. Poss just scuttling away there on the Mininar. But yeah, let's take another look at this team fight. It's just, honestly, it's just really stupid to go in there. They have the perfect counter-engage composition. You don't have the burst to deal with them. You run into Seraphine in the Dragon Pit, into Taki as well, and especially with Artemis and Yumi. Running in there and exposing themselves when they have to kite back and really try to avoid the initial engage and go from there. Complete misread of the teamfight strength, and Cerberus put themselves in a pretty dire spot now in the game, 3k gold down.
Yeah, not where they want to be, but of course, you still have to look at Artemis. He has not really been involved in this game, and it's a Sepia Rift.
Here we are again, and all the names are showing up again.
I don't know why that's
We
happening.
just
but let's-
multiplied. We just multiplied, Carrix. I'm not sure. They couldn't contain us.
After you do VCS for a few years, you split apart and just become clones. But anyway, 3k gold down, but they still have a Sivir. So how dire really is it?
Well, it's Sivir against Zeri, and yes, I believe Sivir is a very, very strong hyper carry, but she's also still gated by range. Even though they changed all those aspects about Sivir's kid, she's still a 500 range champion, and she has a huge problem fighting against, especially in very terrain focused matchups. And we are on a mountain rift. She has problems fighting against higher range champions like Seraphine, like even Aurelia is really annoying to deal with because you can't really spell shield an obvious spell from Aurelia. Maybe the E, but then she can still chase you down with ultimate and so on. So the Sivir might be able to hypercarry in terms of damage, but it's gonna be a very difficult task for her. It's Artemis, so you should be able to do it, but I don't think it's quite as easy as, say, Twitch Yuumi in this game. Twitch would have the option to come from the other side, maybe try to isolate the two squishies on the other side. Sivir can't really do that. She's not sneaky enough. She's a very honest champion. She just walks at you, deals a ton of damage, and you either kill her or she kills you. So I'm not sure if Sivir can carry this game on her own. Of course, there are also other setup champions here. If Na has a really good team fight like he did in the first Dragon fight, maybe Sivir has enough time to build up her stacks, her lethal tempo, all the crits, and then the pizzas or whatever skin she's playing spread through the enemy team. But it's not quite as easy as 500 CS and we win for sure, because this Sivir actually has to put in some work.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And of course, one of the best ways to mitigate a lot of Sivir's damage, as you said, she's honest, is healing from the Seraphine. She's not Zeri, she doesn't one-shot you. She actually has to auto-attack you a couple of times, and if you can heal enough that maybe it's one or two more auto-attacks needed, she might not be able to do it. But, we are stuck in these traditional VCS pauses. Oh, good lord, what have you done? What have you done?
Okay, I should really stop tinkering with this.
Just stop touching it. Wait till the break. But you've completely thrown me. You'll wait. Figure out something to talk about.
I destroyed Carrix. Well, last time we didn't have the pause didn't go for too long, so let's hope this is going to be resolved shortly. Some network issues apparently right now over in Vietnam, which sometimes happens. But
the Sharks again. It's always the Sharks. Secret agents.
They're hungry.
But yeah, hopefully it does get resolved. We don't like these saps. But yeah, your way. Do analysis. That's your job. Come on.
I would really like to actually have a look at the game state again. Oh, there we are. We're back on the race.
There you go.
So no need for
You
that.
got to ask.
77 in kills at 21 minutes. A little disappointing as a long-standing VCS fan, but not the worst. We have seen much slower games. I'm actually a little bit surprised by how few items Froggy has on his belt. He's almost on 200 CS and is still kind of... I mean, yeah, okay, he's sitting on a lot of components. He's trying to go into Riley's second item. Even more utility, stun, or root, I should say, root on 1E, so you don't always have to double stack the E, which is great because then you can concentrate on double stacking W with your Encore, and Encore is the ultimate, whatever the passive is called. So you actually have the shield and the heal every single team fight, so just utility focused build, which was, yeah, it just makes a lot of sense with this Seraphine in this composition. She's not a main carry. She's here to provide as much utility as possible.
Fair enough. It's stage presence, by the way.
Stage presence. Oh, it's a nice name.
Yeah, it's not bad. But we have this bot lane tower probably about to fall for Cerberus, so that will get them some gold back. Yeah, that has been holding on for dear life. Husband is here. He knows, yeah, he's just seen that there are two members of Cerberus nearby. So this tower will just be surrendered. SGB not really trading anything for it. So did he not get local gold?
Yeah, Yeah, might have
Poss,
missed that.
Poss, that's really dumb if that's the case.
Yeah.
You had your team nearby. Just step up, man.
To be fair, it's there are no platings on it anymore. It's not a secondary tower, so yeah, it's a little bit of a loss, but
It's so silly.
not hugely important. Now the next team fight is actually really interesting, because last time Saigon Buffalo snatched the dragon fight, there was no Baron on the map. Oh, come on.
Do you have a Maokai screen?
I don't think so, fortunately.
Oh, unfortunate. No, it's okay. We will talk for a little bit, but yeah, look, it looks like there's a few issues with the internet. I think it was the first pause they said it was on Cerberus's end. So, we'll deal with it. It shouldn't take too long. It's not a chrono break. There's no bugs going on. It's just internet, so they might just be waiting out a little bit of spottiness. Oh, is the stream frozen as well? Oh no.
Is it? No.
Oh, there we
I don't
go.
think so.
No, it was the output on Discord was the one I'm looking at. But anyway, I think with that, we'll actually just throw up a little pause screen because we have talked a lot of shit already, and we'll be back when there's Rift.
Yep. Hey, here we go again. We're back in the game because our pauses are 30 seconds each, so we have no rhythm whatsoever. Thank you very much. But here we go. It's still a hugely important fight coming up with the dragon spawning in 15 seconds, but it seems like Cerberus doesn't actually want to go for it, so might be a free dragon for Saigon Buffalo. And honestly, with how the last fight went, maybe a smart decision over from Cerberus.
Yeah, I mean, Cerberus also doesn't lose a huge amount here. Yeah, they have a lot to gain by moving up to Soul Point, but you don't really care about SGB getting one stack of the mountain here. It's not really going to break the bank. You get more farm onto your... actually, it's going onto the Ari in the top lane. I really would have liked to see Artemis being given more gold, but he still has 2 items, 2.5. Actually got the double crit cloak on the go as well.
Yeah, I probably just trying to get as strong as possible for the next fight. So once again, questioning the communication there. They clearly didn't want to go for the fight. But there's another team wanting to go for a fight. That is Saigon Buffalo, just taking that Baron face up.
It's hard. It's really hard for Poss to TP in here because he doesn't have any Narbar.
Seems
that
like Saigon
poke
Buffalo
from Yano might have dissuaded them. But with the TP being committed... I think SGB are pretty happy here as long as they get some actual vision on the Baron and don't get it counter snuck, which they're not going to. Yeah, they're so happy. They just got the TP.
And this whole game seems a little... I don't know. The decision-making is a little bit slow, I feel like. Both teams a little bit laggy in their decision-making because, honestly, Saigon Buffalo disengaged already. Now, to be fair to them, we have perfect vision, right? And Cerberus didn't. But still, do you really have to TP there when you're already hitting the second tower? And you can reasonably assume that they're not on the Baron anymore, or at least you could scout. It felt
like he should have TP'd 10 seconds earlier.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. So everything seems a little laggy right now. And to be fair, I mean, both teams are also plagued by these pauses. So concentration there might be a little bit of a concentration lapse, and Cerberus in the first place is a 2-language team, so it's harder to communicate there. This, the whole game a little bit scrambly, a little bit twitchy from both sides, so let's see who can settle in earlier. It's very close in terms of gold, very even, across the board even. 3 items built on either ADC. We have IE for Sivir, and we have the Pen for Shogun, so this is actually very common in this matchup, so higher item damage spikes, I should say, for Sivir, but more consistent damage from the side of Zeri against all targets. And whoever gets to the 4th item more quickly probably wins the fight.
Husband needs to be careful. He has not been allowed to do side lane things. He's a 5-2 Aurelia. He's having a great game, but he has not been allowed to exist in the 1v1 against Poss. He has constantly had Leash and Huber with him. Oh,
What are we
BJ
doing?
and Taki need to be careful. They've been completely caught out. They're both going to go down. Teleport in. Good encore, but it's not going to save.
Oh, the counter engage.
Ahmed wants to make it happen. Huge Vanguard's edge. In they go. Shogun cleansing, trying to kite it back, doing Zeri things. As the zap goes across the team, he gets the big shutdown onto the Gnar. And what looks like a disaster turns into a 2 for 2.
Nothing makes
going
sense.
Way too far forward. Why are you there, you fool?
Nothing makes sense in this game, Carrix. I have no idea what even to talk about. Saigon Buffalo stumbles into the jungle, gets caught, but then they win the team fight. Then Froggy overextends for no reason, walking up as a defensive champion with no escape. What is happening? Both these teams are actually just not playing very well right now, and this is just so foolish from Saigon Buffalo. Walking in there with two people who insta-die, but then Froggy with a great ultimate, and Shogun and Hasmid love this position, as Zeri is always strongest around the Mountain Rift and terrain, because she can use her E, she can use her W all the time. Same goes for Aurelia, so hard to play against her ultimate there.
Froggy plays the whole fight so well,
and then
just goes, whoa, wait a minute. People might think I'm good. I'm gonna int. Cool, gotta keep my stocks low.
Tim almost had to say something good about Froggy, so yeah, the burden is off him now because
Tim
Froggy
was desperately texting him. No, int.
Oh my god. This is a very weird game. Very VCS-like game in the mid-game. The early game was very un-VCS-like, but now we're finally there again, and hopefully both teams can improve a little bit more in the second game, or even the second half of this game, because we're very close to concluding this game, and once again, it's a super important matchup. Hasmid, run! What are you doing here?
Yeah, he's got to get out of there. Throws out a Vanguard's Edge to slow them down with a flash as well. Now the rest of SGB have arrived. They will keep their top laner safe.
Vanguard's Edge down, traded for Yumi and Artemis ult. Might actually be beneficial for Saigon Buffalo.
Flash, though.
That's true. Pos Mega is down. If Saigon Buffalo finds an angle here, they could engage and get this dragon.
Ahmed backs, but has TP. This is very close. I think the ultimate does actually give me hope for SGB here. If they do go into this one with a big Seraphine ult, you see BJ leading the way. They want to try
Shogun
and set
missed.
this up. Froggy doesn't find an angle.
But mine, Shogun actually hit someone, but now Shogun's ultimate is down. That's huge. Zeri ultimate is so important. They're just trying to buy time for the dragon.
Onto the jungler. They go in, immediately blow up Leash. Hasmed is distracting the entire backline. This Sunfire build makes him so tanky as he can keep this one going. BJ now surfing his
Good
way
pass.
out. Here comes Boss in the Mega. Froggy holds him up. Crucial stuff. Only Taki will get Mega Nard. It's not really that important. They turn it around. Take down the Nard. The Yumi has to move over to Artemis. Now they move on forward. They've got the Scramble Ramble on the go. Shut down onto the Sivir. Yato and his pet cat Huber, the only ones left alive. Soul point for SGB.
Saigon Buffalo just out-team fighting, out-thinking and positioning Cerberus here over and over again. This is not the Cerberus of winter. They're playing with a different lineup, and it does seem to affect their team fighting capabilities, because Saigon Buffalo honestly had no right to win that team fight. No Zeri ultimate. They were running with a very separated Hasmid, who admittedly is insanely tanky, so you can buy time for ages. But still, Saigon Buffalo should have lost that fight, or maybe just went for the dragon and ran away. But instead, they once again find an angle, even against Pos's Flash Gnar, who only hits Taki. As you can see, surely in the replay now. Now Saigon Buffalo in good control of this game. They haven't won it yet, but they are favorites now. So you can see Shogun, no ultimate. That's actually... Zeri ultimate is a huge tool in Teamfight, but without it, she's just a normal ADC. But I'm not sure what Cerberus is doing. They're trying to collapsing on Hasmid, but Leash is already dead because he tried to steal the dragon. And then everyone just runs away from Saigon Buffalo for a second. Froggy looking juicy, but nice flash to get away from Pos, and then it's still Seraphine and Zeri together. Oh, and here we go again.
Come back in. There's already been a catch onto Yato. They try and turn around. Leash does okay. They picked up one of their own, but Froggy will slow down Pos. They take that one down. Hasmed adding another kill to his tally. And SGB, they're finding the fights and they're winning them.
I can say that again. It's just too much pressure from Saigon Buffalo.
They're finding the fights and they're winning them. You said I could say it again.
I was so confused by that. What the hell? I was seriously question my sanity. Well,
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
God, he's so upset.
Oh, Taki, Flash E misses.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Artemis also had a spell shield in tow, so
It was never gonna
weird
work.
decision there from Taki. I think he's pretty frustrated with the way the game has gone. No, Leona into Yumi Sivir again, please, because this is really not working out for Taki. But he's winning the game anyway. He's providing a lot of frontline and some nice CC on the other targets. Now we finally have to take a look at Froggy and his Seraphine. I think he's unbeaten so far on Seraphine this year, or this split, I should say. Only 2 games, if I remember correctly, but both of them have been very dominant in terms of team fighting. And it seems like these Seraphine comps, look at these shields, they are getting kind of scary.
They absolutely are. As SGB, they make their way back over to the Baron. Does Cerberus actually want to move in on this one? I don't think they do. I mean, I think they might have to. Whether they want to is somewhat irrelevant. 5,000 health left on the Baron. Leash is in range. Taki misses his E. 2,000 health left. Smite will come down. There it is. Mega going in. Poss doing well, but Froggy doing better as he completely stuffs that engage. Now they can turn it around. Husband on the backside. He is able to draw so much aggro, deal so much damage. Look at those heals going out on him as well. As Saigon Buffalo get the Baron, get the team fight, get everything.
Yeah, this is probably the nail in the coffin. Too much team fighting. This compact composition from Saigon Buffalo, it has scaled to be unbeatable now. It's Zeri, it's Aurelia, and it's Seraphine. You just can't do anything against it. And Saigon Buffalo walking in to finally take a game of Cerberus.
There we go. Saigon Buffalo will take this first game over Cerberus. We're not going to get a replay of this. I really want our analysts actually to do it on the desk, because that last team fight, Froggy absolutely smurfed. Could have gone really, really badly, but he did fantastic. Here we go. The Nexus explodes. Saigon Buffalo will take the game.